he helped me do what I needed to do, and I've won a lot of competitions because of no more than anything else except mindset. Joe Louis says go out there and win and don't take second place, and he still believes that every day of his life. And again, this is the man right here.
Let me test my voice. Can you guys hear me back there in the back? Now, what I want to do is the format I want to use is I like to kind of talk in this area here. Now, when I'm talking this direction, people in the back can't really hear me. I did a seminar in Canada one time. We had 600 people in the seminar. And I don't care how loud I talk, the people in the back couldn't hear. So if you have any problems hearing me, because hopefully things I say will be important, maybe not tonight or today, but down the road things seep in. It's like stuff Bruce Lee taught me 30 years ago. I'm just now realizing why he said what he said. Ryan, I'm going to hit you. To begin with, as I look around the country the past couple of years, the K1 fighters who I think are the best fighters, a lot of boxing matches, professional boxing matches. I'm not going to get into karate tournaments. And some of the pride events, the grapplers are real good on the mat, but they're getting the heck knocked out of with left hooks and straight right hands in a standing position. The guys that don't know how to leg kick, they're getting the heck beat out of their legs. Defense, typically with martial arts fighters, is very, very weak. It seems like we put it aside. And usually you lose your fights because you got hit more than you hit the other guy. It comes down to that. And even before that, 90% of fighting is attitude. Therefore, when you're out of shape, your attitude's going to be weak. Okay? So, one of the best ways to kind of get the right attitude going in a workout is start off shadow fighting. I'm going to work on shadow fighting here probably we're going to take a good 30, 45 minutes showing you the things I want you to cover. Eventually, Mike will put it on the website, the structure that I'm going to teach you. And then eventually, tonight, I'm going to start creating some little modules from which we're going to build what we worked on last year, our combination sequences. Try to remember the terminology that I use. Throughout the weekend, I'll be talking a lot about release, recover, react, respond, roll, ride, rotate, release, a lot of R&R terms because the system is built on that premise. I am a fanatic for incredible basics. I give a hoot how fast you can kick or punch. I don't care how hard you can hit. I don't care how many miles you can run. This is what counts in a fight game. You got it in here or you don't. Okay? Like in the martial arts, the only people I look up to are people like Dr. Gee because he has two things I like. I like people who have intelligence and people who got courage. Or balls is another way you want to use it, fine. You putting that on tape, Mark? So, a lot of guys know what to do, but they don't have the courage, the willpower to back it up, to go out there and execute. Again, it comes back to attitude. It's not just the attitude when you're fighting, but the attitude you have when you're training. When I used to train, I couldn't wait to get to the gym. Nobody beat me at the gym. And I was always the last guy to leave. And my favorite workouts were Easter, Christmas, my birthday, because I had the whole gym to myself. See? I didn't want to be any other place. You guys want to party at midnight. What are you going to do between when you get off work and midnight? Train. Does it make sense? All right. I have no advice for you ladies, okay? Now, I want to show you a couple little pointers that I use for white belts all the way up to black belts. When I start my own workout, I'll stand in front of a mirror. And when I used to box in LA, before I went and worked out with the Marine Corps boxing team, we would spend at least 6 3-minute rounds doing nothing but shadow fighting, getting the body sick. So, unfortunately, today we don't have the mirrors here. So the best way to work on your shadow fighting is watch yourself, watch your reflection in the mirror. I'm going to show you some simple basics I would like you to go back to. Randy, where are you? Randy Ballard. Come here. See? Now you're going to be testing for your next rank win next year. What rank you going up for? Fourth degree. Let me show you why you're not going to make it. Okay. Look at this sucker. The girls love that little baby face. Oh, he's so sweet. Okay. All right. Now, guys, I know a lot of you when you stand, you hold your hands kind of like this, see away from the body. Your elbows are too far out. The hands are too far forward. I've never had a trainer in my life explain to me, come over here a second, face the camera. There's 7 gaps I want you to think about when you shadow fight and hitting the double end bag, hitting the heavy bag. Before you leave this weekend, I want you to study the barrage machine that John Maynard has set up at the kickboxing gym next door. The types of long bags that we have for the cut kicks, the double end bag, which works your speed work, especially footwork, and the different types of heavy bags where you can build your power, your balance, and learning to turn your opponent. Now, let me give you a little lesson of basics here. So this is what you work on when you shadow fight. I've been shadow fighting. I started in '67 at the boxing gym. So I've been doing it for years, and I still work on my basics. 7 gaps. Gap number 1. See the gap between the chin and his breastplate. Does everybody understand that gap? Why is your chin up when you come in close to somebody? Because if you practice with your chin up out here when you're throwing kicks, 9 out of 10 times when you get inside, your chin's going to still be up. And you wonder why somebody popped you in an uppercut. Or they trap your hand and roll that elbow, boom, right across the side of your face. Or what Dr. Gee is going to be working with you, if I could get those secrets out of him, you know, come in there, maybe headbutt the heart, and then from here doing a headbutt back up to the chin. Now, what I try to teach people to do is don't put the chin down, because some people can't kick well with the chin down, but pull the chin back. You got me? By pulling the chin back and I crunch just a little bit, it puts my chin in a better posture. Here's the other gap I'm really concerned about. When you guys spar, I want the front shoulder to always be in front of the chin. Too often we get too squared up because we practice that shooting stuff a lot, or we practice blocking cut kicks to the leg, and the hips get too open. When the hips open up, there's a gap between the tip of the chin and this shoulder. Does everybody see that gap? Sure. Okay. This shoulder is supposed to protect your chin, not your hands. I only use my hands for hitting that sucker. I don't be wasting time blocking. I don't go into a fight to test my defense. I go into a fight to show that sucker he's got no defense. You see, your attitude's building right off the bat because you got a fundamental concept. Okay? Always attack from a position of strength to a position of weakness. When your chin's wide open, see, this sucker doesn't have to look for a target or create one. You already gave him one. And when he sees that open, he's going to be hook kicking you, front kicking, coming in with straight right hands, straight jabs. What are you going to be doing? Now you're wasting your time blocking. See, now you got to see what kind of defense you got, rather than showing him he's got no defense. So I'll just shoulder out in front of your chin. And remember that rule. Now the shoulder doesn't have to touch the chin, but I don't want this squared up position. Everybody see it? Okay. Here's another gap. See the gap between the hand and the chin? What's that gap in there for? One over here. What's that gap for? One right here. What's this gap for? One right here. What's that gap for? I've never met a black belt or a boxing coach in my life who can explain me the purpose in those gaps. Then everybody's going to have this gap. This is my favorite gap, between the 2 elbows. I love to throw a little fast jab there. I'm looking at Roger Green over there. He's been with me since 1969. He and I used to spar all the time. He used to love to throw straight side kicks right in there. And a lot of times when I'm inside and I turn my opponent with me, he turns with me, as soon as I pop in, I'll step back and just close the door with a little front kick. You'll get him every single time. If you can get him with that front kick, you can get him with a straight knee thrust. And it's real hard to defend against that. So I don't care who you are, where you put your hands, I can always just sneak in there and just pop you a real fast jab right in the gut. I don't get a point for that. I didn't hurt you, but the split second I hit you, what are you thinking? You're looking for cover rather than looking for an opening. If I get you good with a side kick, now you're looking for your mommy. Got me? So right off the bat, I take control of the match. I got you off balance. That's the whole key to fighting. How do I get that sucker off balance? And your momentum starts from there. That's how you build your rhythm. Does that got me? Keep coming back to strengthen your position. Keep him off balance. That's why we use these little cut kicks. Inside here, a flange kick, side of the leg, core artery contains, right? You go right up the hip flex, all those little distraction kicks, stop kicks, side kicks. Jab. Why do I jab? Not to blind him necessarily, not to measure him, not to get his attention upstairs so I can hit him downstairs. I jab because all I gotta do when I jab is just touch him, just enough to get his weight back on his heels. That split second his weight hits his heels, he can't punch, kick, or block. I'm in control. What did I just do? I got the sucker off balance. So you get a good educated jab, like working that double end bag that you see at Main School over there. Getting that good in and out speed, boom, being able to explode in and out, then learning to double up on it. Then different types of jabs, a great way to get the guy off balance. Now when we shot a fight, let's bring all this back to what the heck I'm talking about, because I'm kind of wandering, and you'll see that happen a lot in the next 3 days. And don't laugh, okay? Now, when you shot a fight, I would like you to practice, at least in my classes, kind of keeping your elbows in front of your rib cage here, your fist directly over the top of the elbows. Everybody see that? Now I want you to pay attention to my hands. When I first taught me to box, I learned the Ed Fudge style. He was voted the greatest boxing coach in the history of boxing. Now what? They taught to keep the heel of the hand towards your opponent, because that's the strongest part of the forearms. Everybody see it? Problem is, you look at this position, my face is not really covered. But now watch. If you take the back side of the little finger, not the heel of it, but the back side of the little finger, this angle right here, you want to point that back side towards your opponent. You notice if I point that side towards my opponent, I've got more of my face covered. Okay? Now, whether you got gloves on or not, I usually like to teach shadow fighting with gloves off, but you got your gloves on, go ahead and leave them. Put your hands up like that now. Now, some boxing coaches want you to keep that front hand maybe an inch or two higher than the rear hand. Because the front hand right now is sort of a defensive shield. Your rear hand is setting up for the power punch. A lot of them, you keep it the same height. It doesn't really matter. There's so many different styles of boxing. Like there's 6 basic stances. I only teach 3. This one, the log cabin, and orthodox. So you use what you want. What I don't want is this stuff here where your hands are out here trying to do all these type of ridiculous blocks. Because guys, this stuff came from karate tournaments and JKD styles and Wing Chun style. Those suckers can't fight, so don't duplicate that stuff. Like Mike Lee Canaris talked about yesterday. You got all these certification programs out there teaching gun defenses and stuff like that. The guys have never done it for real. How can they tell you what works and what doesn't work? I haven't killed anybody yet. I came close, but when it came close, I said, ha, that stuff works. But my instructors kill people. All right? And I know the stuff works. Now, when you shot a fight, this is called your position. Not stance, position. Stance is part of your position. Let me go with the 4 aspects of a good position. And every time you get in front of that mirror and you start shot a fight, go through these 4 terms. What is the most important part of that man's position? I don't care how your feet are, with the open stance, low stance, heads first, whatever's first. I want your hands up. So your hand position, to me, is the most important part of your position. Okay? Like if I'm in combat, we're sword fighting, I got a shield, to me, where that shield is the most important part of my stance. Wouldn't everybody agree? Sure. I don't put the thing behind me, put my sword up front. Okay? Some of you do. All right, so where are your hands? So I don't care if I'm like this. If my hand's in the right place, you're not going to hit me. I don't care if I got this stance. If my hand's in the right place, you're going to have trouble hitting me. Does that make sense, everybody? Sure. Okay. It's like the grappling styles. Okay, like these 2 fantastic grapplers here. Old Pinky, pink forward. Okay. Still doesn't match your hair, does it? I'm talking about this hair. All right, now watch. You keep taping all this, you're going to get me in trouble, aren't you? All right, now watch. I want to pick on him for a second. He just fought in Austria for the Waco World Championships, and I know he can't get beat. They ripped him off, and tomorrow night we're going to watch 6 rounds, the first 6 rounds of the fight. He claims he won, what, 5 of the 6 rounds? He claimed. Oh, now you kind of. We're going to find out tomorrow night. We're going to judge it, okay? But anyway, the word came back that he and his opponent were rated like the 2 best fighters in the world over there. So we're going to check it out. All right, now watch. Hands up. Second point, I want you to go on your position, okay? It's called your posture. Posture means I want to give him as little target as possible. So watch. See the difference between my belly button and my chin? I want to shorten those two distances. So I kind of hunch forward a little bit. Does everybody see it? See, that protects the ribs. I can take a better shot at the ribs now than I can on the straight up. Does everybody see that? All right, now watch. But see, that puts my shoulders forward of my hips, so I'm all balanced right now. So now watch the second thing I do. I bend the knees so it pulls the hips underneath the shoulders. This is called posture. Everybody see what I'm talking about? Not stance, posture. Now let's go down to the third step. Third step of your position. Your feet. How wide do I keep the feet? Now if you want your rank and you do it forms, some guys want this. I've never seen a man move fast in my life with this type of stance. And you wide up with the cut kicks. Plus, once I get inside and I'm littler and I got to turn this guy, I can't turn him with a stance like that. We were working on turning a lot this weekend. So I don't need your speed much wider than with your shoulders. And if you try to block a cut kick by bending your knee up, catching it, you got a wide stance, the cut kicker will beat you all day long. Now, so how wide is the stance? Some people turn the toes this way, turn it this way. I use what we call a staggered stance. Try to use that term. So the feet are kind of staggered. They're not really the same. One is a little more pointed, sort of towards your opponent's chin a little bit. The other one's a little more pointed out. Does everybody see it? That's called staggered stance. Not Nico Achidachi, Simo Dachi, or Zinkutsu Dachi. Forget all those fancy words. Staggered stance. Not much wider with the shoulders. Now, this is important. Something I covered briefly last year. I want you guys, when you do your shadow fighting, how much weight do I keep on the heels? How much do I keep on the balls of feet? Do I put more weight on the front foot, more weight on the rear foot? Start off 50-50 on each foot, and I want you to remember this. Give me about 10% more body weight on the balls of your feet than you have your heels. Now you'll be able to pivot on the front foot and do a slide step with the rear foot, what we call turning. So, if I want to turn him in that direction, yeah, I can grab him, turn him, but he might get mad. But if I kind of step here, do a little slide step, see him pivoting here, now I turn him without any effort. So for example, let's say I throw a left hook to his liver and you block with his elbow. Boom. What am I wide open for? See that right hand? He can come right up with a right uppercut or a short right hand. See it? So as soon as I come here, he starts throwing the right hand. I slide. Boom, boom. See why I'm turning him? Not necessarily to dodge the bullet, which is what it'll appear to. Reason I'm turning him is because I want to reset fast. There's only 4 reasons why you ever move in the fight game. That's one of them, to reset fast. All right, now watch. Position. Get your weight 50-50 on each foot. Get about 10% more weight on the balls of your feet, especially when you're on a spongy mat. You're going to see it's a lot easier to pivot on the ball on one foot and slide the rear foot. Pivot, slide. I want you to just try this. Spread out a little bit, please. Start getting a little exercise from you. I want you to throw 2 punches. Watch this. Just hitting 2 punches. Take a little step. Pivot, slide on your front foot. Take a couple of steps. And don't move. Pivot, slide on front foot, slide back the opposite direction, okay? So try that. Pop, pop, pop. Take a little step, slide. Pop, pop, pop. Turn back the opposite direction. You're doing a pivot, slide step. What you are producing here is what we call turning your opponent. Unfortunately, turning is not taught in any karate style that I've seen. It might be out there, but I haven't discovered it yet. And if it is out there, and they do teach it, unfortunately they don't use it because I've never seen it used in any tournament or really fight, any fight. Of course, there's always the pig farmers from Tennessee that claim they got it all. Oh, you were here again. God, right up front. Okay. All right, does everybody get the idea?